Hello, this video I want to share with you shows a coaching model and how that actually works in a school. What I've done is start with 6 to 8 children from a group and work with them, and actually they become the class champions for talk in their school. This, what you're about to see, can then be actually put into a classroom with the children I've worked with becoming the kind of champions for talk and really supporting other children in getting to the same level. So let me show you exactly what's been going on. Okay, so the coaching model is very much along this sort of line. The first thing we're going to do is to really ensure that children are going to be able to know what the major protocols are. So terms like loud and proud become a mantra, for instance, in the classroom. Talking through body language, talking through eye contact, talking through gestures, etc., is an important part that I did before I got started. Once we've established this, I went on to really get children to talk to me about an aspect of learning that they've covered. So like pupil voice, say pupil voice for science, pupil voice for history. What I noticed when I gave them without any prior instruction, a lot of children, not surprisingly, were using a terminology like, or were very frequent things I heard. What is important, however, is that I've filmed this first interaction with the children. Once I've actually filmed it, I then actually show the children the film and get them to notice some of the things they may have done. My experience shows that children are quick to pick up on, oh, I've said like there, I've said there, etc. And they actually talk quite usefully and helpfully about some of those things. We then have a wider discussion on those, and I talk to them about what I want them to do. The third stage then is then preparing to do a small presentation on a specific theme. So if we've actually looked at, say, Romans in the pupil voice, I give each of the sets of 2 children, pairs of children, a specific area to look at. Like, for instance, the impact the Romans might have had on Britain, or how do we know the Romans were here in the first place? Or even things like gladiators, etc., dependent on what they've actually covered in their classroom. Importantly, before they do that, we just remind them of the protocols we've been through. Then once they've actually had a chance to practice, they actually present back for the first time. Once they've actually done their first presentation back, hopefully without the terms like and others coming into the talk, we will then sort of begin to get the other children in that group to actually provide feedback for them. I personally noticed that most of the feedback to these children has been highly positive from the rest of the group. So I hadn't had a need to really make a point about anything being over negative. However, we are looking at children actually being able to do some sort of presentation, some sort of feedback that gives a kind of guidance for the children. Okay. Now, once that's been established, I then introduced the STEM. So the example we got there obviously is geography. So if I was actually looking at biomes, for instance, for a year 3 class, I'd actually be telling them about how they may start that and really get the children to buy into some of those sentence stems. I found that children are really grateful for these and actually quite quickly put them into their presentation. So with the stems, plus the feedback they've received from their peers and myself, of course, they are then invited to do a second presentation or improve their original presentation, and actually I've sent them away again. This time, they've really kind of upped their game. And what we're then looking for during that second presentation is them having taken on board the sentence stems, the feedback they've received from their peers, etc., etc. And then finally, we talk, preparing them to really be champions in their class. And here are some of the things here we've actually wrote down that they might find as a useful sort of prompt for them to talk with the rest of their class. Now, this bit, hopefully, shows you that in action, okay? Exactly what I've talked about This is the bit where I'm inviting children to really establish those protocols and at the same time move into the pupil voice with me. In this case, I've got 6 children altogether, as you can see. First of all, I'm going to just chat with you in an ordinary way around the table.
So I didn't know that they like a sheep wings.
I didn't know that they would like fight and they weren't actually that strong, they're just people that fight.
It's important for you to be aware this is the first opportunity these children have ever had of working in this way. So this is them watching the initial session we had.
So I didn't know that they like a sheep wings and they
This is me preparing them for that first presentation. And then come back and do a proper presentation. So you've got 20 minutes worth of not just deciding what you're going to say, but how you're going to say it, who's going to say what and when. As they go off and do their first presentation, I'm going around reminding them of gestures, reminding them of loud and loud, and all those sort of things we've already talked about. So I want you to really think about your body language. One of the things I'm really interested in is how you're actually going to present this information. Look at the way I'm using my hands. It's almost like natural. It's not, I'm not forcing it, it's just me, it's just the way I am.
They invaded all of it. Good morning, my name is Oban Ahmed. Okay, so you numerals.
So this is now their first attempt at presenting. In case you're wondering, what we've got in front on the desk, there isn't a prompt, I promise you. It's another camera in case the original one we were doing wasn't going to work.
Good morning. My name is Oban Ahmed. Today we're going to talk about why the Romans left Britain.
Hey Tiara, did you know that the Romans brought hamburgers to Britain?
Wow, that sounds delicious.
So this is the feedback the children are receiving from others.
They explained a lot of things. They both had like the same amount of speaking time. So everything was like spot on.
Yes.
They were all like using the hand expressions, and like they were looking at the camera.
And then we introduced the sentence stems. What we mean by sentence stems, it may be a useful way of opening up a sentence for us. The Roman invasion of our country was very significant because, the remains of Roman baths have helped us to learn about. So it may be, not all of them, but one of those may be helpful for you when you're actually considering here. Then they go on to their second presentation. Again, I've given them time to really work on it. What I hope you'll notice as I'm going around here is that gesturing has now become more familiar for the children, and indeed it becomes almost by second hand a real process indeed.
This time we're going to focus on a topic, then when we really know that topic, we're going to go to a different one instead of like fixing it up a bit. Why? Was Scotland too strong for them or something?
The Anglo-Saxons were very successful fighting off the Romans.
And then this is their second presentation attempt.
And hi, my name is Muhammad Ali.
Today we're going to tell you why the Romans left Britain. My name is Oban Ahmed.
Good morning. And my name is Samuel Ola.
Today our topic is why did the Romans invade Britain? So Samuel, why did they?
Good morning, my name is Ida.
And my name is Tiara.
We're going to tell you about the legacies that the Romans left for Britain.
Some buildings, the remains of mosaics tells us that the Romans really liked art.
True.
They were communicating
Yeah, I thought they really moved from one to the other very well and asked each other the right questions at the right time. Okay.
And again, they have an opportunity of giving feedback after they've done that second presentation. So basically, that kind of gives you an idea of the model. What I'd also like to share with you is this example, which is a school I've been working with for some time. They're actually really quite sophisticated in what they're able to offer. And I just want to take this opportunity of just sharing this particular video with you, which is St. Thomas's School in Blackburn. They're very happy for me to share this. This is the kind of what they do quite regularly to really support the work they're doing. So when they've actually finished a unit of learning, they put this on their website so that parents have a view of what they've actually learned, but also next year they'll have this as a starting point, perhaps, when they start a new topic with a new year group. So this is St. Thomas.
In Year 6, we have been learning about World War I and II.
We learnt about World War I and II, life in the trenches, the appeasement, and how Blackburn was affected by the war.
World War I started when Archduke Franz Ferdinand was assassinated by a Serbian man. This eventually led to a war between the Allies and the Axis.
The Treaty of Versailles blamed Germany for starting World War I. Due to this, Germany became very weak. Hitler took advantage and began to invade neighbouring countries, eventually invading Poland, which led to World War II.
The aim of the appeasement was to bring peace and prevent war. Neville Chamberlain, the Prime Minister of Britain at the time, met Hitler in Munich, where Hitler agreed to peace. However, Hitler took advantage of this and began to invade more countries and grew in power.
Winston Churchill was against appeasement. He believed that Hitler would grow stronger and be a danger to Great Britain. He knew the war was inevitable. He eventually became Prime Minister and was known as a great wartime leader.
Trenches were simple ditches that provided protection against lethal weaponry. Soldiers would stay there for days and days, which made it very unhygienic. This led to diseases such as trench foot.
This is a snapshot of what we have been learning about World War I and World War II in Year 6. Thank you for listening.
What I'm hoping is that that gave you a snapshot into the type of work that I've been involved with, and I would like to think that our resources have enabled children to really become much more confident speakers. Their presentation skills, particularly oral presentation skills, have improved no end. And I hope that some of those resources we have will be absolutely just what you need to move you to that next level in your school. Thanks again for listening.